really just stuck out to me, and we sort of forced that riff to happen. We sort of forced that song to happen, and it wasn't as comfortable for John because it's got an upbeat thing to it, and John wasn't really used to working under those terms because it's got what you call in music theory, it's on the pickup.
Right.
The wah and then wah and then wah. You know what I'm saying? It's got that like this pickup thing,
right.
Which he's just more like Sabbath-y kind of shit. And it's a very energetic sort of almost uplifting sort of thing, and it was new for him. And that song was a bit challenging. I think my favorite part of that song though is the end. You know, that end riff is incredibly crushing, and live
yes.
very, very crushing.
Yes.
But you know, I remember when we first started playing it live, because we actually, with Prone to Destroy, we wrote everything live as a band and then recorded it. With Space Music for K People, I would get together with our producer and we would write these songs, and then we had to actually learn them live, which was backwards.
Right.
Because of technology nowadays, you know, we were able to actually like have them on record and have them all done, never having played them live before, which was very, very different for me and very different for all the guys in the band. So, but yeah, you know, it's a very cool song, and I'm definitely enjoying that direction that we're going in. At the same time,
right.
There'll always be, you know, doomy crushers like Light of the Voodoo Star, which was not written in the studio. That was written as a band over a period of time, and then brought into a recording situation. So
I was going to say that song too is also one of another song that I really like, because it's just, again, like I said, it's got the riffs, it's got the rhythms, it's got every element of a classic metal song. It's just really good.
Well, thank you. I sort of pride myself, or maybe I shouldn't say pride myself. Maybe I should say I specifically, because I'm really into like great guitar players, and I want to be one of those, you know, guys. And I've studied it my entire life, and I won't allow a weak riff to exist.
Right.
You know, now there may be somebody else with a different opinion, maybe able to find one, you know, on some of our records, but to me, every single riff that's played is very thought out, and if it's weak in any way, shape, or form, I'll either make it not weak or ditch it and replace it with something else, come back another day, and, you know, so, but yeah, that song, The Light of the Voodoo Star, is another one that live comes over very well.
Right.
It's very powerful live, you know what I mean, and if you can't play it live, you know, it's kind of like, why put it on a record? Right. On the other hand, you know, being the Guns N' Roses fan that I am, I sort of like, I would like to venture into the sort of big arena Queen, big GNR, multiple instrument side of things at one point in my career. I would like to do that, you know.
That would be awesome.
Maybe it's a musician in me, you know, and then you can't pull it off live, you know, unless you've got multiple massive backing tracks and in-ears and drummers on a click and all this crazy stuff.
Right.
But, you know, one day I'll do something like that, you know, but, yeah, so, anyway.
Well, very cool. Well, like I said, you know, I haven't heard a song yet that I don't like, and a lot of my friends who I've introduced introduced to Crab by Fire, they really like the albums that I have, and I have the two, Prone to Destroy and Space Music for K People. And again, you know, we can't find a song that we don't like. Now, I do know that you had an EP back in 2007.
Yeah.
As the World Burns, which I've not heard anything off of that, but I'm searching, trust me.
Well, everything that's on that is on Prone to Destroy.
Okay.
That was the original demo. The song's structures changed a little bit here and there, But I believe there's 5 or 6 songs on that. I don't know. I don't even have a copy of it. I should have a copy of it, but that original demo, I think we were together for about 2 years when we did that, and when MySpace was really big, and that got us signed. And then we traveled to Italy, Florence, Italy, and lived in Florence, Italy for like 6 weeks.
Wow.
And recorded Fun to Destroy. So, and then when we got home, the label fell apart on us. And we ended up with the record, Prone to Destroy, completed, and no way to put it out. And then I did an interview, much like I'm doing with you, and a man by the name of Trev McKendry, that runs, at the time it was Digital Media Records, and I did an interview with him, and he was really into the band, and during a commercial break, he offered us a record contract.
Wow.
And so then they put out that record, and digitally, and there was some physical copies, which I don't have a copy of that either. They were all sold or whatever happened. And, yeah, so then I started the next one, you know, and we recorded that up in Zach Wild's.
Right.
You know, so.
Well, very, very cool. So, all right, I want to delve into a little bit of CBF's history. How did CBF come about?
Well, let's see. I was in a band, and we were having problems with our singer. And we decided to get rid of him. And I was looking for another singer. And I started taking ads out, things like that. And Jason Botch, who is in Potty Mouth and Genocide and the Watchers,
right?
He was also playing guitar. We were both guitar players in the previous band, and he said, "What about John from Trans Ultra?" And I was like, "Dude, why didn't I think of that?" You know, the guy lives down the road, you know, and like we played gigs with him, and he was like super awesome on the stage, and just, you know, very different and like very cool. There was this thing about him that we always admired, and I knew that Trans Ultra wasn't together anymore, and so I was like the best idea ever. And I instantly hit up John. He was like, "Yeah, I'll come down and jam with you." I didn't really know him, like I kind of knew him a little bit, like, and he came down and jammed with us. And the first song we ever wrote was "Crowned by Fire,"
right?
Which didn't make it on Prone to Destroy, only because there were so many songs on that record, and because we had never demoed any of this stuff. Well, we demoed some of it on As Above, So Below, but for some reason we didn't put that song on there. Or maybe we did. I don't even remember. But the reason why it didn't make it on the record is because I had the same riff in the bridge for Crowned by Fire as I did in the bridge for Black Moonshine.
Okay.
And I didn't realize it until we were listening back to all the tracks. And I go, "Dude, it's the same riff." And we didn't have time to rewrite it and switch it.
Right.
So I had to pull Crowned by Fire out of the mix because I wanted to have the ballad on Prone to Destroy. Because, you know, it's a very heavy record, and, you know, you should have at least one sort of ballad on it.
Right.
And so, but the first song we ever wrote was Crowned by Fire, and we didn't have a name. And John, for 3 months, kept telling me that's the name of the band. I was like, I don't know, man. And then I remember I was running heavy equipment. I used to run those big tractors, you know?
Right.
And I was on my way to work one day, and I'm driving, and all of a sudden it dawned on me. I go, "Dude, Crowned by Fire is an awesome band name." And I called him. I go, "Dude, Crowned by Fire should be the name of the band." He's like, "I know. That's what I've been trying to tell you for 3 months." So it became the name of the band. And it's like one of the only band names that I've ever had where I didn't regret it at some point. You know, I was, you know, sometimes with band names, you think something sounds cool at one point, and a few years later, you're like, "That sounds kind of stupid," you know? And then Crowned by Fire still sounds cool, you know? So
Well, it's got that classic, late 80s, early 90s metal feel to it. It's not this, yes, it's a 3-word name, but it just, it doesn't ring like some of the other, 3 and 4 word name bands.
Yeah, no, definitely we're not about that, man. I mean, we're heavily influenced by 70s.
Right.
But we're really into 70s rock, like Molly Hatchet, Zeppelin, Sabbath,
you guys also did a cover of
Burning for You.
Yeah, Burning for You. That's right, Burning for You.
Yeah.
Yep.
Featuring Dario Caponera, who's a good buddy of mine who lives out there in Italy, and he was on that same label that we were on. And he's my brother from another mother, man. And this dude's a raging guitar player, and so he did some guest spots on that song, and that was another one that got cut, unfortunately, from Prone to Destroy, because it was supposed to be on Prone to Destroy, and then once we put on, there's so many songs that we recorded, the duration of a compact disc, there wasn't enough room for it.
Right.
So we had to leave it off. So Crowned by Fire and Burning for You didn't make it on Prone to Destroy. And that's why they're on Space Music for Cave People.
Right. Right.
And Space Music for Cave People was originally my original idea behind it, because everything was digital downloading, everything had switched. I was like, let's just do, 2 or 3 singles, and then we'll just release one, and then 2 months later we'll release another, and then 2 months later we'll release another, and, just let them buy one at a time, because people don't buy records anymore. So that was the original idea. And then when Stephanie Shaw stepped in with Chrome Mountain Records, she needed a record.
Right.
And I was like, well, there's 4 songs. And she's like, I don't like 4. The number 4 isn't a good number. Right. And I was like, well, there's Burner for You, which is 5. She's like, can you do 6? Is there another song that you guys have laying around? 6 is a good number. And I was like, well, there's this song, Something in Her Blood, that's really cool, but we're having a bit of a problem with it, and we're not really sinking in somehow. Like, the vocals weren't really jiving with the guitar riffs and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, what is it going to take to make that song happen? And bless her heart for doing that.
Yep.
Because that song, to me, I'm very proud of that song. I'm very, and that again was me and Chris Collier and John all collectively. Chris isn't a member of the band, but he is. He's like the 5th Beatle.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And he and we got together, and I was like, this is what I have. And then he picked up the guitar, and he's like, well, what about this? I was like, okay, cool, put it on tape. He recorded it, and then we just we worked the song up, and we made it happen. And it was because of outside forces. It was because Stephanie wanted this other song, and she made that happen. She made that song happen. Without her, it'd still be in the demo phase and would have never happened. And that's probably one of the songs that I'm most proud of because of the guitar work on it.
Yeah, and that song again is just one of those songs. It's incredible. It's just the guitar work is just outstanding, and
Thank you.
I'm waiting to get that one so I can play that one too on the air, because my listeners have got to hear that. Anyway.
Yeah, it's very, again, that song you can hear by slashing.
Yes, definitely.
We'll actually purposely do things. Here's the Dimebag thing. Here's the Zach Wild thing. Here's the Slash thing. Here's the, sometimes John would be singing on Space Music for Cave People and be like, I sound too much like Ozzy. And I was like, no, just do your best Ozzy impression right there, because Ozzy rules. Right. Why wouldn't you?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like if you can play guitar and sort of replicate any one of those guys, why shouldn't you? If you're a singer and you can replicate Ozzy for a second, why shouldn't you? All we're doing is celebrating the people that we idolize. So,
exactly.
And I think that that's the formula that CBF is built off of. And because we don't try too hard to be different, when you take it all and you put it, it's like meat and potatoes and carrots, you know, and you put it in a pot. You know, everybody loves stew, man.
Right. Well,
you know,
that's the thing. You guys have a certain chemistry.
It ends up being classic.
Exactly.
Automatically, you know.
I mean, because from my standpoint, I know from the others that I talk to, it's a classic chemistry that just will continue to be. You know, it'll be a timeless. 20 years from now, my grandchildren will be listening to Crown by Fire. You know.
Well, I hope so. You know, I do. I truly believe in the situation. You know, I really do. And we're getting ready to go on our 10th anniversary in January, and it's definitely the most successful act I've ever been in. And it's definitely, it's just neat to hear people, like, you know, get it.
Right.
You know, and understand it. And without John, man, like, you know, without John, it wouldn't have been possible for me to get the gratitude that I get from my guitar playing.
Right.
You know, and John really had a vision, and I was willing to run with it. And he taught me a lot, man, because when we first started, I was like, you know, we need to be leading edge. We need to be this. And he said, no, we don't. We need to be classic, dude. That's what we need to be. We need to be classic. And he kind of just burnt it into my brain, and it works. And I totally get it now. So when I pick up the guitar, I go in to record something, I end up just, I don't really think about what I'm doing. I don't really worry about it at all.
Right.
I just play with my heart, and it just naturally comes out.
It's because too often, you know, we run across bands that they're trying to be something that they're not. You know, you've got a lot of your newer metal bands who are trying to be something that they're really not, and there's
a billion Lamb of God clones right now.
Oh yes.
You know, that's the new thing. You know, and then you know, there's a billion Pantera clones.
Right.
You know, and we've even been labeled as a Black Label clone. You know, which is kind of unfortunate because, you know, we're not.
Right.
You know, even though I'm buddies with Zach, and, you know, I mean, he was my guitar teacher, and he's been very influential on my guitar playing. You know, there's a lot of other stuff that's in those records. Just because I do a pinch harmonic doesn't mean that it's, you know, a Black Label clone. But then again, you know, you're going to have haters no matter what. So people are just going to drum up things to say horrible about you.
I think people equate, you know, you being associated with Zach in regard to, they hear the pinch vibrato and they think, oh my God, he gets this from Zach Wild. Not necessarily.
Right.
If you get into the entire record, you listen to every single song, you listen to every minute, every second of every song, there's something different in each song. You know, there's a different influence. Like you say, there's some Slash, there's some Zach, there's some Dimebag. You know, there's some just all these other these elements that make up just that one song or 2 or 3 songs. You know, so I really encourage people to listen to the entire album. I really
right. Well, I mean, it's like if you listen to Frank Marino and Mahogany Rush.
Yes. You
know, you can hear his influence on Zach. Mm-hmm. You know, you listen to Eddie Van Halen, you can hear his influence on Dimebag, and it's a progressive thing. It's natural. You know, I mean, you know, I like that stuff. I think it's cool, and we just celebrate it. You know, we just celebrate our heroes, and like I said, you know, we make our own version of meat and potatoes. And you know, you can go to one restaurant and get meat and potatoes, but it's going to be different than it is at another restaurant. It just depends on which restaurant you like the most.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
You know, you like both.
Right.
You know?
Exactly. Well, you know, like I said, there's a lot of elements to you guys' music, and I will, you know, give John some props here too. I mean, his vocals on both the records that are out, I don't think CBF would be what it is if John were not the front man.
I couldn't agree with you more, and it doesn't bother me. I guess it does bother me a little bit that I probably get the most praise out of it all for my guitar playing, and it actually kind of bothers me a little bit that there's, because you get a lot of guitar players, you know what I mean?
Right.
They come to the shows that are into the band or whatever because of the guitar playing, but vocalists are catty, so they're not necessarily going to be like, dude, that guy, this guy, the dude. But when we get to the next level, I can definitely see people. I mean, I can't say enough great things about his voice, his abilities, his range, his ability to do so many things, and he's super original, and I pushed that on him really hard, and I did that on Prone to Destroy. There's a lot of the same stuff over and over again, and on this newer record, I was like, look, dude, I've heard you sing. I know you can sing.
Right.
Sing, dude.
Right.
And it made him feel uncomfortable a little bit, and, truly it's my fault because I would always come at him with these chainsaw riffs, and it's like, how are you supposed to sing over that? You know what I mean? It's like, how are you supposed to sing over a Pantera riff? You got to scream your balls off to match the guitar sound. So I started trying to write things that were a little more melodic, and so he definitely proved himself on this last one. And I think that what's coming next is going to be even more so. We've actually started demoing new stuff, and it's epic, dude. It's very, very epic.
Well, because I've heard the progression from Prone to Destroy to Space Music for Gay People, and there's you go from Prone to Destroy to the new record, and you hear his progression in his vocals, especially when he sings Something in Their Blood. That song, he just nails it. Yeah, and he does it really well live. I mean, it's like, sometimes it gives me chills when we're on the stage, and it's like, wow, this is really written right within his range. Like, it's a super comfortable song for him. Whereas Witch in the Window actually isn't. The Fly High part is very difficult to pull off live. Right. And has been very challenging for us to make happen, and we're still bouncing back and forth on different ideas of how to make that sound the way that it does on record. Right. But and we've been playing it for 6 or 7 years, so we're still challenged by that song. And the weird thing about that song is that it's guitar wise, it's one of the most easiest. It's the easiest song to play. I mean, a beginner guitar player could play that song all the way through very easily, but vocally it's very challenging. And so, but yeah, I mean, I really can't say enough about him, and without him, this band would not be where it's at. This band would not be, not have done what it's done, man, and he's my partner in crime, and, we get along very, very well. We have very few disagreements, and, one of the things that we've both been told a long time ago by people in the industry is find somebody that it works with and stick with it, and don't stop. Exactly. Just pound the pavement with it, man, and especially when it's good, right? Right. So, well, I know that when Something in Their Blood came out, and all the hype came out about a video, I was all over that. I was like, there's got to be a video behind this song. Then that would just solidify just everything about the song. And when it came out, and I watched it for the first time, I sat here for 10 minutes after I watched it, and I was blown away. I was like, holy crap.
Awesome.
I was like, holy crap, this is just awesome stuff. Because the video, you see a video with a song, you're thinking to yourself, it just doesn't fit. But then you watch this one and you go, every element of the video fits every element of the song.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I was under the impression that it was a love song, Something in Her Blood. That's the impression that I got. But John is into some odd things, let's say. He's really into classic horror movies. He's a big horror movie buff. He's really into Godzilla and, you know, all these, like, classic horror stuff. And so I don't really know anything about that. You know, I'm more into, like, Smokey and the Bandit, dude. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, Dukes of Hazzard, you know. And so, I ended up finding out.
There's your next cover, Eastbound and Down. There you go.
Yeah, no, totally, man. Hey, Jerry Reed's one of the greatest guitar players to ever live, bro.
Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, I ended up finding out that the song was based off of a movie called The Pit and the Pendulum, by Vincent Price.
Right.
And so I was like, oh, well, what's that? I'd never even heard of it. I mean, he's a few years older than I am, and again, I was too busy watching Dukes of Hazzard. So when it came to this video, I was usually kind of in charge of putting together the production when it came to videos and stuff like that. And I know that it's a giant pain in the ass to get actors, and when you're on a limited budget, you know, when it comes to props, you know, it's like, so I was always like, look, you know, let's get together and let's you know, record a video in a rehearsal room, you know, of us just thrashing, you know, and you do it all in one day, and you put a bunch of stacks up, and you know, and do something cool, put a filter on it, and,
right,
you know, make the camera shaky or whatever, and just, you know, kick some ass, and to make it financially feasible. And when it came to this video, he had a vision, and I just said, you know, because, I mean, when you're a teammate, you know, it's like if you're married, you know, let's say, you know, sometimes you got to let your wife call the shots, man, or
right,
it's not a team, you know, there's no I in team, you know, so I go, hey, man, this one's on you, bro. Whatever you think, whatever you want to do, make it happen, I'll be there. I'm staying out of it. I'll show up on the date that I'm supposed to be there, and I'll play guitar.
right.
And I put it all in his hands, and he got Cleve Hall, which is, some people may know him from the Sci-Fi Channel. He had a reality show called Monster Man.
Right.
And where he makes monsters, basically, for like B-rated horror flicks. You know, he created some cartoon that I'm sure everybody's seen. Not the Teletubbies or something like that. Not the Teletubbies.
No, I don't think
one of those things. And you know, he's very well known in the industry, and he's buddies with us, and he'd come to our shows, and we'd hang out and stuff. And he already looks like Vincent Price,
right,
and he's, you know, right. So he looks like that every day, you know. And so it was like, well, why don't we have Cleve be Vincent Price? And then he built all the with a small budget from Chrome Mountain Records. He built the set, the castle walls, and the pendulum, and he got some girls to play the parts. I've never even seen the movie, and we pulled it off, man. You know, and I'm very happy with the result. And we had Robert John of Guns N' Roses fame. You know, he was with Guns N' Roses just before they were signed,
right,
all the way through the Use Your Illusion tours. You know, and being the huge GNR fan that I am, that's just surreal in its own right.
Right.
You know, to be buddies with this guy. I mean, he comes over to my house and we just hang out. You know, like, it's weird. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah. So yeah, we had Robert John film it, and Cleve started it, and Monique and Sarah were the girls, and actually the stage, and my buddy Brandon Anhalt works at Santa Clarita Studios, provided the lighting and some of the artistic direction, and he actually provided us with the stage that we performed on, and that's actually the same stage as the Geico commercial that you see today with Europe. playing the final countdown.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
They shot it the day before, and they were going to trash the stage. And he said, "No, I'm shooting a music video tomorrow. Put that on the truck. I can use that."
Wow.
That's the same stage as the Geico commercial with Europe.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
The very next day we shot it, yeah.
Awesome. So let's get in. You guys have been on the road here the last couple, well, I guess with the last couple of weeks you were in Texas. You were here in Dallas.
Yes.
And I had an event that I had to DJ that night, so I couldn't make it. But also, I don't know if I can say this if it's okay with you, but you recently got engaged.
Yes, I did.
Okay, very cool.
To a very lovely woman, and yes, I did, and I've had quite the last 10 years, man, when it comes to relationships, and I just we sort of accidentally met each other, and we fell madly in love with each other, and I couldn't imagine being with anybody else, man. I'm super crazy in love with this girl, and I asked her to marry me.
Right.
So
awesome! Well,
yeah.
Congratulations, and hope you have many, many years of blissful marriage.
Thank you.
No,
she's very well versed in music.
Awesome.
And actually, I kind of met her, to make a long story short, I kind of met her because she was going to school for music production. And that's, make a really long story short, that's kind of how I met her. And I was like, wow, this chick's hot, and she's going to school for music production. Then I started talking to her, and I realized how intelligent she was.
Right.
And I was like, wow, she's beautiful, and she's incredibly smart and very well versed in music. And I was like, instantly, this is her, this is the one, and I'm very fortunate that she feels the same way. And so, yeah, pretty cool, man.
I will say you guys make a good looking couple, and like I said,
thank you.
Hopefully, many, many years. So
thank you. She makes me look good.
Well, I'm going to have to agree with you there.
Yeah, she's pretty hot.
Yeah. So you guys were recently in Dallas, and then you went down to Houston. Are you going anywhere else?
No, we did. Well, originally we had gotten. We did a tour with Fozzy, Chris Jericho's band, and Texas Hippie Coalition, and an amazing band called Shaman's Harvest.
Oh, those guys are awesome.
Dude, they're amazing, dude. And we got offered the bill, and we jumped on it. And we made it through Houston. And actually, Sterling Winfield's wife, Leah, had hooked me up with a radio DJ by the name of Tommy Cat. Mm-hmm. And he interviewed us before we played in Houston. And she hooked that up, and then when we played, I didn't see him afterwards. And then about a month later, maybe a couple of weeks, once we got home, he was like, "Dude, you guys blew my head off. That was amazing." And he was like, "Dude, would you guys like to headline our festival, our Halloween festival in October down here in Houston?" And I was like, "Well, let me talk to the guys." And we worked out a deal.
Right.
And of course, I can't come down and play Houston and not play Dallas because we're bigger in Dallas than we are in LA, man. Dallas is our home away from home, man.
Yeah, you gotta come hobnob with your Dallas family.
Oh man, they're amazing, dude. And so of course my buddy Jalapeno from Black Summer Rain.
Right.
I called him. I was like, "Hey, brother, I'm coming down, and we need a gig." So he hooked it up, and we went down there and played 2 slamming gigs. And of course, we wish we could do more, but it boils down to finances, man.
Right.
And these days it's real hard to get over that hump. Yep. So we do what we can, and the internet is a very powerful thing, and we're very aware that people want us to tour all over the place. They want us all over North America, Canada,
And in Ireland.
Yeah. Yep. And you know, the thing is that without the proper management and financing behind us, it's nearly impossible.
Right.
So, you know, we're waiting for hopefully something to come along to make it a little bit more feasible.
Right.
We do understand that you know, it's not 1985. You don't get multi-million-dollar contracts anymore.
Right.
But I think with the proper management and the proper financing behind us and the proper routing, that it's, of course, it's our ultimate goal, man. That's all we want to do. We'd love to just do it for a living. Just do nothing but tour.
Exactly. I mean,
that's our goal.
And I think that's the ultimate goal for a lot of the the local guys, is to get out there and tour all over, to spread their music. I mean, like you guys are doing. As you say, though, the internet is a very powerful tool. I mean, you've got all kinds of outlets on the internet. But then we get into the whole streaming and downloading for free and all this other stuff.
Well, yeah, you can't sell records.
Right. Right.
So unless a bunch of promoters want to pay you $1,000 a night, it doesn't financially make. I mean, because what everybody's got to remember, without getting into too much detail, what everybody's got to remember is it's going to cost us $500 to $600 per day to travel in a van with a trailer. You got van rental, trailer rental, plus the fuel that goes into that, plus 3 meals a day, plus a hotel room every. I mean, you got to sleep somewhere,
right?
So if you're making $1,000 a night, there's not a lot left over.
No, not really, not at all.
So if you just $400 left over, that means each of us made $100.
Right.
So now what people don't understand is that while we're away from home, we still have bills at home.
Right.
Whether it's a truck payment, kids, blah 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 blah. So you got to cover that too.
Right.
And so if you're not working, you're on the road, and you're just covering the expenses to tour.
Right. And you're bringing home maybe $100, maybe $100, maybe $50.
Yeah, you're not bringing home anything.
Right.
So well, that's what we need. You need like 1,000 plus per night. But unless you tour, you can't really get those guarantees. But you can't get those guarantees unless you tour. You can't tour without those guarantees. And it's kind of a sort of a black hole, if you will. That's sort of it's hard to get over that hump.
Right.
And so that's where proper management comes in, things like that. But managers want to make money too. So if the band's not making money, the managers don't want to have anything to do with it.
Right.
So you kind of end up in that thing, and labels don't really invest in bands. They don't. They only sign bands that are already doing it.
Right.
And even though we're doing a lot more than a lot of bands, we're not doing as much as a lot of others.
Right.
So.
Well, there's that evil balance that you have to get into, and that's a whole nother conversation. So
a whole other conversation. I could go on all night about that.
Exactly.
I won't.
Exactly. Well, anyway, so I just kind of want to wind this down a little bit, because we've been down the road a couple of times here.
Yep.
Though I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Trust me, I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. So now that we've kind of covered all those kind of places, now where can we find Crown by Fire music?
Well, ChromeMountainRecords.com.
Okay.
That's where you can buy really bitchin' vinyl. It's clear with like blood inside of it.
Yes.
Sam Sheeran, he does Zombie and Ministry, and he's done Maiden, and he's done all this stuff. He's a good friend of ours, and he's a really amazing album cover for us. There's CDs and vinyl available at www.chromemountainrecords.com, which I highly suggest you go there and buy the real thing.
Yes.
Of course, you can download us on CD Baby, iTunes, any of those outlets.
Right.
And you can get merch at www.crownbyfire.com.
Yes.
I think that's right. I hope that's right.
Actually, I'll pull it up.
It's either that or It's either that or .net, one of the two.
I'll pull it up right here. I'll pull it up just to verify so we can tell them correctly.
Yeah, edit that out.
It's crownbyfire.com.
Okay, yeah. So www.crownbyfire.com, and we're actually getting ready to go through the process right now of revamping that and putting all the T-shirts that were ever available up on there. So we're doing that, and then we're in the process of starting the beginnings of writing some new stuff and demoing some new stuff. And there is a new song that is about 3/4 of the way finished. And I don't know what we're going to do with that. We may just release it as a single because I don't want to make the fans wait as long as they have to wait for space music to come out.
Right.
But then again, who knows? That's what I thought with the last record.
I mean, we have to wait anywhere from 5 to 8 years for Testament to put out an album, so,
Well, we're not Def Leppard, you know what I mean? We can't sit around for 5 years before we put out new material. We gotta pump it out, but, it's not free, so then you get into that. So, so I think that maybe the best way to go about it right now is do what my original idea with Space Music K People was and put out some singles just to keep it hot and keep some fresh material out there and hopefully get the attention of somebody with a big checkbook, because that's what it's going to take, brother.
Yep. That's what it's all about.
Take.
Yep, exactly.
It's going to take. So.
Okay, man. Well, I'm gonna wrap it up right here, and I'm gonna say thank you very much for this opportunity to talk to you. I've waited for a very long time, and I'm glad it happened tonight. And we look forward to what's coming up with Crown by Fire, and look forward to hearing from you again, man.
Awesome, man. Thank you for having me.
All right, I appreciate it.